Oh no, I remember why they were trying to determine whether or not I was having a heart attack. And so it begins, my friend. On my bathroom floor, with a blanket. Hi everyone, and welcome back to You Can't Make This Up. The online version, the best drama series ever to be out there across the interwebs. This series where we get to laugh at the things that actually happen in my life. I had to switch shirts. I forgot I do not wear short sleeves in front of people. I wrote a script because my memory does not work these days. Disclaimers 101. This video is not meant to garner sympathy. I'm not complaining or, all right, maybe a little. My problems are not more important than anyone else's. I'm not making fun of anyone, only myself. I just want to share what has happened in my life. I've put this off for long enough. I am just going to be using a bunch of products that I've been playing with these days. Currently, I have the CVS Healing Ointment, the generic version of Aquaphor. My under eyes, my whole face. I can't find anything moisturizing enough, and this is the summertime. Hold on. I can't just wait for the winter. Well, actually, I can wait for the winter. I'm looking forward to the winter, or maybe the fall, or something in between. It's scary out there. I don't want to public today. I do want to talk about a couple of things that are currently going on. My things date all the way back to, that didn't come out right, but February. But, you know, recently, within the past couple of months, I lost my Miss Kitten. And I've talked about it a little bit before, but here's what I've discovered. I'm not doing well with it. I don't deal with grief well. And losing her it definitely tipped me over the edge. I have trouble sleeping in bed now because we had our routine. She was the most cuddly cat. I've had her the longest. All of my other babies have passed on. And what I meant by that was my Baxter, my Jack, my Milo. You guys never got to meet my Snowy cat, but those were my original babies. And she was 19. She's been with me through everything you can possibly imagine. She was different. I love all the other cats, but she was the snuggler. She's, you know, never scratched or bit me out of fear or anger or just wanting to be left alone. I'd say, let's do naps, and we would jump on the couch and we would snuggle in. I'd have to spoon her, or she'd have to lay right here in my armpit, and we would do naps. And then she would let me know when it was time to go to sleep. And I said, we do sleeps? And she would jump on bed and wait for me to pull back the covers, and I get into bed, and then she'd have to like turn around a couple of times. I had to have the pillows just right, just perfect, so she could either snuggle here, or sometimes she wanted me to flip her over on her side so I could spoon her, and then she'd look up with me with the most loving eyes, and that was my comfort. That's how I fell asleep, and I was used to falling asleep like that. And now sleeping in bed, it's like I'm missing my snuggle cat. My therapist has told me, and yeah, I go to therapy. I'm not going to be ashamed of it. Although some may judge, again, I put myself out there on the internet, so anyone who wants to judge certainly can. And she's told me basically I'm stuck with one loss after the next loss after the next loss, and just this continuing cycle. For the past 5 years, I'm not able to process one to move on to the next, like I don't want to see regular people do, but there is a process to grief that most or everyone actually goes through. You know, it's funny. I really thought that I was going to cry when I was talking about this, and I know that I'm holding it back because I cry all day long. I cry when I wake up. I cry when I go to sleep. I cry in the middle of the day. Every time that's what's going to get me to cry. When I think about the things. Let me start doing this or else I am never going to get through. The day that she passed away, I had to take her because I know that she was in so much pain. She couldn't move. Every time she'd try to stand up, she would fall over. And here's where I may cry. I should have shut up for a minute. I'm trying to finish up this Saie because that's what I want to do. Finish up products and get on to the next. So I had to take her and I had to put her to sleep. And you have to pay for getting her ashes and the whole thing all up front. Well, I had to beg, borrow, and not steal, but sell. I had to make a lot more difficult decisions on what to sell to be able to do this. It was, I'm not joking, it was $800. They had an angel fund that they offered that was $150. So my total still came to $650. I had to borrow $300, and then, as I said, I had to sell another $350 because I had used part of my rent money to do this, and I knew that I had to make it back quickly so I could get my rent paid on time. Some of the jewelry that I had to sell, I swore I never would, but I had no choice. And here's the one thing that I want to say. I'm using the tinted eye cream as an under eye, not primer, not concealer, you know. I think you know what I mean. You guys were amazing when I first talked about it and I knew that I wasn't going to have the money. You offered to help, to send me money, to start a GoFundMe for me. And I can't tell you the gratitude that I felt. And the reason I turned it down is because I'm not here to ask for money. I'm not here to have you guys help with things like that. Your being here watching my videos is all I could ever ask for. And the reason I couldn't do it is because I couldn't pay you back. If I could have paid all of you back through the GoFundMe once I was able to get money, I would maybe have accepted it. But because I couldn't pay you back, I couldn't accept the money. I borrowed money, which I said I would never ever do again, but I was desperate. But I'm paying that person back. Granted, it's like $20 a month, but I'm paying the person back. The sooner I could pay it back, the better I will feel, because I don't want to owe anybody anything. So I still haven't picked up my baby because I know it's going to be exceedingly emotional, and right now my soul just can't bear it. So she's waiting for me, and I'm going to get her. I'm probably going to be talking long after I finish my makeup, but hopefully you'll still be listening if I can make this interesting enough. So my life has been stressful. I mean, whose isn't stressful right now? I'm using the Benefit Boing Concealer. I seem to be going the extra mile. 2 things that just make you go, oh no. She has to be making this stuff up. Again, I'm not going anywhere, but I'm not going to make myself look like crap on purpose. I'm going to try and do a pretty like. And so it begins, my friends. A pretty look, because I have not been inspired to do much of anything. I have the greatest intentions of enjoying my makeup that I just love. That was my whole thing. That's why I started my channel, because of my love for makeup. I need my baby fan. It's probably less annoying than the air conditioner, so I am praying that it doesn't screw up the sound in this video, because at this point, guess who forgot to turn the camera back on? I'm going to also put the Pixie by Petra, the Flawless Beauty Primer on. This is a little bit tinted. Now I already started to put foundation on this side of the face. We'll get into which one I'm talking about or which one I'm using. When I started to say, I get so annoyed with myself sometimes. This is one of those times. My neurologist was telling me that I am starting to get some nerve issues on this side of my face, which, wasn't the best news that I had wanted to hear. He's going to be starting me on a new medication because the Ocrevus made me so sick. I have avoided it for the past year, and I can't do that. Things are getting worse, and I'm not going to let that happen. I had started to use the Chanel foundation. This is the Le Beige Healthy Glow Foundation from, I mentioned Chanel, and I have mine in BR22. It's a little bit on the light side. I got this a long time ago, and she tested me in store, but you know how that works. Anyway, So I'm really not happy about that. So I was saying, because my mouth is really drooping on this side, so I've been using the lip plumper. You just suck on it for a couple of seconds at a time. If you do it any longer, you might get bruising. Oh man, look, I am getting bruising. Oh well. I'll just add it to my list of things. I'm using the KVD concealer in medium. Of course, I'm using my Urban Decay Velvetizer powder underneath my eyes. My latest adventure goes all the way back to February. I'm just using a Baby NARS bronzer. I have a larger one too. This is in Laguna. I have so many bronzers that are so orange, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to make this work. No, I'm going to stop saying that I'm going to make it work, and I'm going to sanitize them and give them away because it's ridiculous. I look in the mirror at work and I'm like, I'm orange, and I'm only going to keep the bronzers that work well for me. I still work in the summer. So I look forward, to my breaks. I don't do anything at all on those breaks. I just like being home and not having to get out of bed. These are not my regular brushes. I just grabbed a thing of clean brushes. And speaking of brushes, before I get into February break, as I use my brushes, and they really need to be cleaned, I put them in a little bag and I put them aside. Kept the bag open, because why wouldn't you be able to keep the bag open? They were some of my favorite brushes. Like, I've been using them all the time because they're my favorites. Did I even powder my face? No, I did not. Henceforth and ergo, I'm going to use my by Terry powder, which I very much enjoy. This is the hyaluronic powder. I gotta say then, because I didn't even use any powder, my bronzer went on pretty gosh darn good, if I say so myself. Anyway, for the third time trying to explain this, one of my illustrious cats, I don't know which one, had to vomit. Cats do that sometimes. Guess where one of them did it? Right in my bag with all of my favorite brushes. And no, after such incident, I was not going to wash them and try to sanitize them. That's gross. So I cried about that. Is that irrational? Yes, it is. I have a gazillion brushes, so I should not be upset at that. But they were my favorite brushes. I got the Ofra pink powder in, it could have only been my BoxyCharm. This is the brightening strawberry powder. I always compare it to the Becca, Still Miss Becca. And this one is a little bit heavier and drying and a lot more pink. I had first used it with a powder puff. Remember I said I wasn't going to talk about the products a lot? So now I'm going to shut up and continue on with my story. I really do have the most grandiose plans when it comes to my breaks, and as I said, I wind up doing absolutely nothing. I had plans to film a lot and film my palette collection, which I've been saying I wanted to do for a year, and it hasn't happened. I still don't have my car fixed. I'm doing everything I can, but as you can see, one thing after another, comes up, and I'm unable to get my car fixed. I have to add oil to my car every 5 days so my engine doesn't seize. Now let's try my bronzer again. Every time I get one step ahead on that ladder, somebody kicks me in the face and knocks me down a few rungs. So this year, I was a lot neglectful in getting my COVID and my flu shots. So I got them about 2 weeks before break, and I said, okay, well, I've gone this long. I can stay away from people and not have to worry, right? So Friday, before break, I'm all excited. And yeah, under eyes look like caca. I start sniffling a little bit, not feeling too great, a little bit of coughing. Didn't think much about it. Which blush do I want to use? My Patrick Ta. I thought this said, and she's destructive. She's seductive. That sounds a lot better. And then I have this Melt Cream blush. in Daydreamer. This is really, really pretty. I've been really, really liking it. I'm not used to, no, I don't often, yeah, that's it, like cream blushes, but it's really pretty. See, I cannot not talk about the makeup. Can't do it. I'm going to use the melt, I think. I'm using the e.l.f. stippling brush. I always do this first. So I wake up Saturday, and I'm not feeling so good. I take my temperature. Fever I had like maybe 99.5. Now my normal temperature is 97.9. But so when I get like 100 fever, it's a little bit more intense than if my temperature, core temperature regularly was 98.6. I'm like, great, I'm not going to feel well during my break. Well, as time goes on, I start to feel a lot crappier. Remember, I live alone. It's not like I have a person that I can say, honey, I don't feel good. I really need to go to the doctor. So I was dizzy. I was nauseated. I had the worst headache. I just felt like somebody ran over me. You're not going to get sick from the shots, but you're really not covered or protected until like 2 weeks after. I would have loved to have gone to the doctor, but couldn't get myself in the car, could barely get myself off the couch or out of my bed, so I took a COVID test. So guess who got COVID? Right at the beginning of my vacation. I spent the entire week's vacation in bed, and when Sunday came around and I had to go back to work on that Monday, couldn't do it. I want to play with my Natasha Denona bronze palette, and it's real kind of pretty. I just want to put like the lighter color over my lid for some kind of base. It's called Beach. So I really, really tried to get up on Z Monday morning and go to work. Yeah, that didn't happen. And again, couldn't get to the doctor to get Paxlovid or anything for it. So Tuesday came around, same thing. I got myself to work on a Wednesday. It was about a week and a half or so before the spring musical. I love helping out. I love doing the makeup. I love being a part of it. Asked me to come in on a Saturday to go over the makeup because the play was back to the 80s, and you know that was my thing. It was like late morning to early afternoon. I got through the day and I felt fine. On the way home, I was a little bit hungry, so you know what? I decided I'm going to spend some more money, and I wanted to get myself a sandwich from Dunkin'. So I did. Came home, fed the cats. I'm relaxing, and then I started to not really feel good. I started to feel like a pain in the center of my chest, and I was burping a lot. Well, maybe the sandwich that I ate, disagreed with me. And I took some Pepto-Bismol, kept burping, and it was really bothering me. It felt like indigestion, like right at the top of my rib cage, like kind of up the center of my chest. And I thought it would be fine a little bit. I went to go take a drink of water, and I couldn't drink the water. Swallowing the water felt, how can I explain it? Not quite as bad as when I had Giardia when I got back from Mexico, but it was very uncomfortable to drink the water. And as time went on, I started to have pain that was like radiating down and from my belly button, mostly onto my left side. So now I know that your appendix is on your right side, so that was not something I had worried or thought to worry about. Now this was a pain, as I said, that I had never ever felt before. And I was nauseated. Sorry for the gross details, but did vomit a couple of times. I would lay on the couch and Miss Kitten would try to like cuddle with me, and like I'd have to get up and like go back into the bathroom because I felt nauseated. I thought maybe I had to go to the bathroom, so I tried doing that, and I just progressively kept getting worse. Now the pain was getting more and more and more intense, and I wound up on my bathroom floor with a blanket on the cold tile because somehow I thought it would make me feel better. Besides, I was also closer to the toilet bowl. And I just wanted to go to sleep. I figured, you know what, if I go to sleep, I will feel better. It's going to be fine. I got up at one point and I was like, you know what, let me just try to maybe put something in my stomach, some bread, just to maybe try to make myself feel better. That was a mistake. Hours are passing, and do you know, Winter Cat stayed with me on the bathroom floor the whole time. And at this point, I was literally rolling around on the floor in agony. What do? I knew I could not get in a car and drive. If you don't know this about me, I do not like attention, as in medical attention. When I got into my car accident in 2020, I was like mortified that they had to put me on a stretcher. I don't like that kind of attention. I can't call myself an ambulance. How stupid am I going to feel if I called myself an ambulance and there's nothing wrong with me? I'm going to feel like an idiot. And I always feel like that on a regular basis. I really don't feel like feeling like an idiot any more than I have to. I sat there with my phone. I'm like, I can't call an ambulance. I can't call an ambulance. But I feel like I'm dying. But I can't call an ambulance. But I feel like I'm dying. This is the conversation that I'm having in my head while I am writhing around on my bathroom floor. Now, mind you, I got home probably around 4 o'clock, started not to feel well very, very shortly after. So it's about, I'd say, 1 o'clock in the morning, Sunday at this point. Haven't gotten any sleep, going in and out, but constantly in agony that, again, I haven't been able to exactly find the words for. Do you know how your mind blocks out a bad memory? Well, I think that my blind no, I think my mind has blocked out the memory of that pain, because I know I was in indescribable agony, but I can't remember. I can't describe the pain. I can't remember being in that pain. It feels like it was some kind of a nightmare or something. After, I would say, almost 12 hours, because, put it this way, I, don't laugh at me, I was in my pajamas, my hair was up in the messiest top knot that you could possibly imagine. I was a walking disaster area. At least I looked like it. I had no bra on. Again, TMI. Because wearing the bra felt very constricting in the pain I was in. So I just had on a t-shirt. And as a matter of fact, these sweatpants that I'm wearing now, I have to get to the hospital. I can't take it anymore. So hunched over, holding my stomach, but I have to make sure like I have my stuff. So I didn't want to take my whole purse of everything, so I grabbed a tote bag. I threw in my wallet. I threw in my keys. I wasn't thinking about much except how much pain I was in. I actually grabbed my phone charger because I knew if I was going to go to the hospital, I'm like, all right, I'm going to be there for a little while, but I do want my phone charger with me. So I walked myself into my garage. Now, I forgot to mention one thing. It hasn't been really, really cold. Guess how cold it was out that day? 17 degrees. Now, I don't have a winter coat. What I have is what was my dad's, a little like sweat jacket, a plaid one with like a hoodie. So with my t-shirt on, I grabbed that. I did say I was thinking rationally at this point. And now I'm standing in my driveway. I had 911 pulled up on my phone every time I go to press it. By the way, I'm sitting on the bumper of my car and I'm doubled over. And I'm saying to myself, do I call? Do I not call? I'm indecisive, but I don't think I've ever been quite so indecisive as I was. They're going to think I'm so stupid if I call 911. I don't like attention. I do not like to be in the spotlight in that way. That is attention that I do not want. So I'd say for about 20 minutes, I'm standing there, hovering over the button, the call button, the green button, whatever you want to call it, debating, do I do it? Now, it took me till 6:30 in the morning to finally press that button. And I get on the phone and they're asking all of the things and I'm feeling so stupid. It's probably nothing. I'm going to be there for half an hour. They're going to say, you have indigestion, and they're going to send me home. In my mind, that's what was going to happen. I want to take some of the Boing concealer. Again, I don't care if it looks like caca because I'm not going anywhere. I always want this to look nice when I do it, and when I do it, I always look like horrible. So they say, okay, we're going to send rescue. I'm just putting on my lip gloss from Julie from Wygo Warrior, the Yummy Gloss. I love it. Under eyes, horrible. Using my favorite ABH brow liner. I should stop trying other ones and just use the ones I love. This isn't taupe. I said I am going to go outside and sit out there on my stoop. 17 degrees. And I'm sitting out there on my stoop. Can you guys kind of hurry up because I'm cold? Forgot to mention that I had no hat, no gloves, no scarf, and just my sneakers with the little tiny socks on. That was it. So they finally get here, but they couldn't find me for a minute because I was I was behind my wall and they couldn't see me because I was huddled up like a gnome against the wall. And they asked me where the pain was, and I'm explaining to them that it was mostly radiating from up here, as I said, down to my belly button and out. My left side hurt more than my right side, but it was now everywhere. They asked me my age. I hated admitting that because they were two young, which I hate saying that, extremely good-looking men. Gosh darn it. So they want to examine me on my stoop, but it's 17 degrees. So they said, we're going to go get the stretcher. I said, oh, no, you're not. No, you are not going to do that. I said, I will walk into the ambulance. They must have thought I was slightly cuckoo. Of course, I didn't realize that climbing up the steps into the ambulance was going to make it feel like somebody was ripping my insides out of me like Alien, but opposite almost. Now I'm in the ambulance and they're asking me more questions. And I'm trying to answer logically, but when you're in agony, it's hard to be rational. Also been trying to play around with some liquid liners, which lately I suck at, but I want to try them because I have them. Yeah, the Better Than Sex liquid liner, I have to shake that one. Tartartist, that's the double-sided one, which I used up the liner, which is fantastic. And this is the liquid liner. That's the Tarte. This is the Better Than Sex. I'm able to get really nice light strokes with this one. Hindash. I got this one in I got it in my, what's the thing that we get? The Lucky Box, yeah. This one I have to press a little bit harder, but probably because it's drying out. I'm going to use the easiest one to work with right now, which is the Better Than Sex one. In the ambulance, they're asking you all of the uncomfortable questions. Your weight, your height, how long have you had the pain, what meds are you on? I mean, the list goes on and on. I'm like, shut up in agony because we haven't moved anywhere. They put an IV in. Now, they are not ruling out that I'm having a heart attack. They call in, and should we administer the nitro? My blood pressure was almost 160, 160 over 90 something. Obviously, I'm in pain, I'm in stress. Normally, my blood pressure is 120 over 80. That's the only thing that's not wrong with me. For highlight, I want to use the Danessa Myrix. This says the Lightworks Volume 5. What do I know? Oh, no, I remember why they were trying to determine whether or not I was having a heart attack. You know what the heck? I'm going to try Invincible. I don't know how it works as a highlighter. I never put it like that. Basically, just glitter particles. How about I try a little bit of the iridescent one? So as I was saying before my squirrel moment, the reason they were trying to figure it out because they didn't know whether to bring me to a trauma hospital where they were more equipped to deal with somebody having a heart attack, or to a local hospital where they didn't have a trauma center. Maybe I'll use that glittery one because why not? Yeah, I like the glitter one better. because everyone needs some glitter in their life. So the ride to the hospital is not that long, but I can tell you that every bump I thought I was being attacked by a prehistoric creature. This is the Kosas Brow Gel, one of my favorites. We finally get there. Mortification sets in even more because now they have to wheel me into the emergency room. But I must say, the pain was making me forget about that just a little bit. As far as I can describe the pain, because I can't describe it anymore. This is the Saie London Watermelon Burst. Did they go out of business? Because I really like some of their products. I have this pretty lipstick from Shayna B. Miami. It's called Hibiscus Island. Let me swatch it. It's pretty. It's pink. I do want to use a lip liner. Clara, this one's for you. Does the pink go with this? Made them smell fantastic. I also had this one from Jason Wu. It's darker, but it's more magenta, and I'm not in a magenta mood. I have this Buxom plumping liner with the little brushy thingy on the end. This isn't plumping. What I can tell you is plumping is this Too Faced lip injection. Yeah, that's plumping. Oh, you know what? The Too Faced, which is this one, I think goes better than the Buxom. Does it matter? No, I'm gonna use the plumping one. So they take me into a room. Now it's probably 7:15 or so in the morning. People are coming in and out at this point. Itchy nose. I don't remember much of it, to be honest with you. I just remember curling up in a ball on the stretcher, and I remember having to go to the bathroom 18 times because they put an IV in. So every time I had to go to the bathroom, I would roll myself out of bed and walk myself to the bathroom. And then, like, you know how they have like nurses or whomever sitting at those mobile stations? Well, they would all kind of watch me crunched over and going to the restroom, but nobody ever said anything to me, which I thought was interesting. Yes, I'm opening another mascara, and no, I don't care about that, but it is the NARS Climax Extreme. I've had other samples of this I have never bought. Yeah, okay. A full size because I've gotten the samples. It's wonderful. Love it. Hopefully this one isn't dried out. I also like it with primer, but I'm not going to use primer. I'm going to cut the story a little bit short. This one isn't working as much as well as I know that it used to. Finally, a doctor comes in, and I remember hearing her say, give her some morphine. She's in pain. I didn't respond. I didn't do anything, but the nurse comes in and she told me it may make you nauseated, just so you know. Don't think I've ever had morphine before. Hits you all at once. And yes, guess who had to lean over and be a little sick. I don't know how much time is going by. I don't exactly know what time it is. They finally come in and they tell me that they're going to be taking me for a CAT scan. I think I remember getting to the machine. I remember he told me to like put my arms up. I must have fallen back asleep because I don't remember like the machine or the process or anything. But I remember him waking me up and saying, okay, we can get back onto the stretcher. And I remember that it was still difficult. And when they bring me back to the room in the emergency room, and I started to be in pain again, me another dose of morphine, which guess what happened again as soon as they gave it to me? Yeah, that happened again. Yeah, I told you I was going to finish my makeup before I finished the story. So then eventually a doctor comes in and she was very, very nice. Now I thought she was going to tell me that I had a bladder infection or a kidney infection because I've had kidney infections before. And again, I'm forgetting things. The pain did radiate around to my back. And when she like hit on my back, it did hurt, I will tell you that. Never in a million years did I expect her to say, you have appendicitis. So she said, yeah, you're going to be having surgery soon. And I went, oh, this is not what I planned on. I again figured, which is why I kind of went out in my t-shirt and pajama pants. I thought I would be home in a few hours and they were going to give me some antibiotics and I would be on my way. But no, I have to be special. If something's going to happen, I have to make sure I do it at 1,000%. what goes into my brain is I think to myself, I left my cats. I didn't feed them breakfast this morning because I thought I would be home in a few hours. I didn't scoop their litter. I thought I would be home in a couple of hours. Initially, they told me I would be there for like 3 days. I was like, this can't happen. And I freaked out. I was like, wait a minute. No one's been to my house. No, I have to have somebody take care of the cats. What am I going to do? So I called my friend at work. And she was surprised. She was surprised to hear from me, and I said, okay, listen carefully. In my medicated state, I said, I'm going to surgery a few hours. I need somebody to take care of the babies. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I hate asking this. Please take care of my babies. I burst into tears. I took my keys and my garage door opener. I have them with me. That freaked me out. And you know, the first thing that comes to my mind is, what if something happens, God forbid, while I'm in surgery? You know, again, somebody has to know I'm here. And also, I obviously wasn't going back to work on Monday after being out for 10 days, being sick. Well, I was out for 3, being at work for 2 days, and then now I'm going to be out for who knows how long, and I'm not going to be there Monday, so I needed my friend from work to actually tell my boss that I was going to be out. I had to ask her to take care of my kittens. You know, I'm in a confused, panicked state at this moment. The actual surgeon comes in and he has the personality of a sandfly, but if he's a good surgeon, I don't care. I was petrified, of course, and they eventually wheel me into surgery, and the nurses were so kind and so gentle. They were wonderful. They were holding my hand, etc. And I just remember like the anesthesiologist yelling, both arms out, both arms out. And I'm like, hello, human here, human here. Oh, before that, they said I had to go get undressed and put that gown on, and you know how I feel about that. And what also panicked me about going to surgery is I don't know what's going to happen. I don't like to be out of control. And of course I had to take my underwear off, and I didn't want to do that. And they gave me like, you know, the shorts, the boy shorts, which remember with my last surgery on my back, when I woke up, they were not on me, and that freaked me out. The anesthesiologist didn't even say like, okay, I'm going to put you to sleep now. All of a sudden the nurse is holding my hand and he's telling me both arms out, and that's the last thing I remember. And the next thing I remember is I'm in the recovery room. Doesn't seem to be like there's anybody else there, which I found out later is because it was Sunday morning and they don't do surgeries on Sundays. And then my friend had actually come, which was so amazing. They let her into the recovery room, so she was able to get my keys and stuff, and she came, she took care of the baby, she washed my dishes for me, which I thought was amazing. And so then when they finally brought me back to my room, the immense pain that I was in after the surgery was, well, immense. This video is going to be so freaking long. I hope you guys stay till the end. If you've made it here, I never do this. If you've made it to this part, can you put either an ambulance emoji or like a police emoji? I'm just curious because, like I said, I can talk, you know, till the cows come home. So if I can try to truncate this story just a little bit. They were pretty good at pain management, but they wanted me to get up and walk around. And the problem was, first of all, sitting up, I literally thought it felt like somebody was ripping my insides out. The good thing is I only had 3 cuts. One literally right underneath my belly button, one on the left side, and one in my bikini line. When I did wake up from the surgery though, I still had those undie things on. Either the nurse was kind enough to put them on me because she knew how upset I was when I had to, like, you know, take everything off, or like they left them on. I don't know. All I know is I was grateful. I still worry about what they did to me while I was out. The food was good. The nurses were wonderful, except for the night nurse. This man creeped me out so much I cannot even begin to tell you. He kept asking me these weird questions. And instead of like typing them into a computer they bring in, he was writing them on a scrap piece of paper on his hand. You know, like hold it, and he's writing them down. He's asking me, do I live alone? Do I have any children? Do I do drugs? Am I on welfare? Do I get food stamps? Do I work? Okay, sorry. I had to actually jump in and do a voiceover because I don't know if I was getting this across all the way.
they had already taken my entire history upon intake into the emergency room, and then it was followed up by the nurses when I was actually back in my room. So there were no questions left unasked, and they were all entered properly into the computer. Oh, I forgot that he was also very surprised and asked me why I didn't have children. And he was also extremely surprised when I told him that I worked. Okay, so now let me finish the rest of that story.
All of these questions that really aren't relative to anything surrounding him taking care of me. And by the way, if you've ever been in the hospital, why do they wake you up every 2 hours to take your blood pressure and your temperature? Why can't they do it that during the day? They also took enough blood from me to feed a vampire for a very long time. I don't know what that nurse's thing was, but again, he was creeping me out, and it made me want to get out of that hospital more and more. And also, I didn't want to keep asking my friend to go take care of my children. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with being on welfare or food stamps. It just was a very odd question for a night nurse to ask me and not type in a computer when they didn't ask me that, but they asked me what I worked, what I did, whatever. But let me know your thoughts on that, because I'm still a little oddly confused. As much as I was in pain and I wanted to stay there because I knew it would be easier, I wanted to go home. So I was there for only 2 days. The ride home was eventful. That was not pleasant. Now, once I got into my house, luckily it's all on one floor, thank goodness. And I was so happy to see my babies, and they all greeted me. A couple of them were mad at me. I will give them that. They had every right to be mad at me. I left them for 2 days. But I forgot something. I couldn't bend down or bend over. I went to go feed my babies. They eat on the floor. I went to bend down. I couldn't bend down. How in goodness name can I do this? So I kind of went like backwards like this with the food in my hand, and I'm trying to like get it to the floor. I don't know what I looked like, but I kind of dropped the food on the floor, which then of course made the wet food pop out of the floor.
Man, I am just laughing at myself. The food did not pop out of the floor, but it did pop out of the bowl and land on the floor.
And then I'm like, how do I pick them up again? I also slept on the couch because it was a lot easier. It's also closer to the bathroom. I'm home. I'm alone. I'm in pain. It's difficult. I wasn't going to ask anybody else to do anything for me. About 8 days, I finally went back to work. Still, like, couldn't bend over, couldn't do much. Let's put it that way. The one by my belly button, that hurt the most. Supposedly, that's where they suck your appendix out. That's a pleasant thought, isn't it? I would definitely say I didn't start to feel normal or completely better again for about 8 weeks. It was an interesting experience. I left out a whole bunch of stuff because I can't make this video 3 hours long. No one is going to sit here and listen to it.
It was actually 3 hours long.
All that to say that you can't make this shit up. And I'm so grateful for you listening to my story, and I can't wait to hear your relevant stories, your experiences, and just any humorous comments that you might have about my situation. I love you guys. You are amazingly wonderful. Thank you for being here. Thank you for always supporting me, and I'm so glad that I finally sat down to do this video, and I will talk to you in my next one. Bye.